Hello and welcome back to my channel. We are now in a new place. Not my room. This is actually my old room. My brother moved out this week, so I decided to film here. Eventually my computer will be here too, so that will be fun. You don't know I bought a new computer. It's April, and here we are doing our March stuff. So let's get into it and show you everything that I read in March. I'm pretty happy with how it all turned out. I ended up reading 9 books for a total of 3,121 pages, and I gave an average rating of 3.56. So 3.5 stars, which is I think pretty good. I think I've been more realistic with my ratings lately, which makes me pretty happy. The first thing that I finished in March was The Sorcerer's Heir by Cinda Chima. This was not my favorite book in the series. I gave it a 4 out of 5, and it wrapped things up nicely, but I still didn't like the way that the last 2 books went. So yeah, I'm glad I've read them, I'm glad I've had them, and there's a series review, so if you want to find out more about this book, you can check that out. Next, I read Small Gods by Pratchett. I found that this one was really interesting. It was just a little fun and kooky book about gods and religion, so that was really great. I rated it 4 out of 5 like most of the books that I've read from the Discworld series. I wouldn't say that this one is one of my favorites, but I did enjoy reading it, and I'm looking forward to reading the next book in the Discworld series. After that, I finally read The Bear and the Nightingale by Katherine Arden. I thought this was interesting. There's a lot of things that I didn't super like about this book, and it took me quite a long time to read, comparatively, as it is quite thin. I ended up rating it a 4 out of 5. I will continue on with this trilogy, but I felt like there was things that could have been done better. Then I read Seraphina. I bought this book when I was in my 2nd year of university, so that was like 4 years ago, and it just sat on my shelf, just sat. So I decided to finally read it because I was really craving some dragons, and I loved this book. I thought it was so much fun. I really like how it dealt with dragons. She did a lot of really cool things with it, a lot of cool things about identity as well, which I thought was really interesting, and it was just fantastic. I rated it 4 out of 5. There was a couple political things in the book that I thought could have been done better, but still fantastic. And the love interest. The love interest, I think, was probably the thing that I struggled with the most in here. But I read the next book already, and I can't wait to read Hartman's new book. Then continued on with Read Tortall and read Wild Magic by Tamora Pierce. This is the first book in the Immortal series. This one is many people's favorite. This is, I think, the first book I ever read by Tamora Pierce. I borrowed it from a friend. This is obviously my own copy now. This one was cool. I thought it was really nice. I really like how sassy Diane is, and I think that the Badger God is really great. I ended up rating it 4 out of 5. It was a fun book. Right after that, I read Wolf Speaker, which is the 2nd book. This one was really interesting. I don't like all the things that happened to Diane in this book. I struggled with some of her character development in the wolves, but it was still pretty cool. I rated it again 4 out of 5. I like how it was kind of expanding the magic and what she can do, but I also found it kind of stressful to read. Then I read my disappointing book of the month, which was The Resurrectionist by E.B. Hudspeth. I thought this was going to be really cool. It's a super pretty book. Like, they have these really great anatomical drawings of mythical creatures. The first book, half of the book, is about vivisection, and it's told like a history, which is pretty cool. Like, it's a cool concept, but it just ended up being a little too disturbing, I think, for me. I'm definitely going to keep it because it's pretty, and I do love some nice anatomical drawings, but it's not, I think I'm not probably going to actually read it again. I rated it only 2 out of 5 stars, and most of those stars came from the art. But if you are interested in learning more about vivisection, this might be a good book to check out. And then I finished off my month on the Easter long weekend, which was extra long for me because I took a vacation day because I had to. And I read some of the Yarn to Go series. And I in fact read all of them that weekend, but only 2 in the last days of March. So the first one is Yarn to Go, a Yarn Retreat Mystery by Betty Hetchman. I thought this was really lovely. It is so much fun. Unlike the other cozy mysteries that I've read that have involved yarn, that have had someone who doesn't know anything about yarn and fiber arts in it, like she actually learns and gets better over time in it. I think it's a really interesting way to start the series. She's living with her aunt who has been recently murdered, and the police aren't really doing anything about it, and she finds out that her aunt has this yarn retreat that she has organized but isn't here to do it. So Casey, the main character, decides to take this on and try to do the yarn retreat even though she doesn't know anything about knitting, and has actually a really good time doing it. She's also the town baker, and there's a hot detective in it, so. And the second book is called The Silence of the Lamb's Wool, so that's really great. In this one, you get to meet the same retreaters again, so there is a core group of characters that comes to all the retreats, and this is the first retreat that Casey has run by herself, and the retreat was called Sheep to Shawl. So they were going to look at sheep, get the wool, clean the wool, spin the wool, etc., etc. But then of course someone gets murdered. So yeah, both of these books were super fun. I rated them both 3 stars. They were just great little cozy mysteries, and the cat also is super wonderful, and they're just lots and lots of fun. So that's everything I read this month. That's all I have to say for this video. Stay tuned for my March book haul coming soon, even though it's May. And thanks for watching.